1,300 years ago, the battlefield was already filled with chaos. The ground shakes, smoke rises, and the air burns with the smell of blood. A red-haired warrior swings his spear and shouts in frustration that the monsters never stop coming. Another man clenches his sword and curses the return of the disaster god. The calamity has begun again. The red-haired man looks grim, knowing they are once more too late. He understands what must be done. Like before, they will have to sacrifice their lives to seal the calamity away. But before they can move, a blue-haired man steps forward. His eyes glow fiercely as he raises his hand. In a flash, a beam of bright blue light bursts out, wiping out all the monsters in an instant. The field falls silent. Everyone stands frozen, unable to believe what they just saw. Then two more warriors appear, a middle-aged fighter named Liam and a white-haired man beside him. Liam demands to know what just happened, amazed that the Calamity Demon's spawn was destroyed in one strike. The white-haired man admits that Liam has always been strong, even among the 100 elite warriors, but this power is far beyond anything they've ever seen. He asks if Liam has gone beyond human limits. Liam cracks his neck and replies calmly that he has mastered the 108th ability and made it his own. The others stare at him in disbelief, but the monsters continue to crawl from the dark abyss. Liam forms a glowing sphere of blue lightning in his hand and unleashes it. The explosion shakes the ground, and the shockwave alone makes everyone tremble. He announces that by gaining all 108 abilities, he has become almighty and absolute king. He tells everyone to stay back because he alone will defeat the Calamity Demon. He walks toward a massive volcanic pit. Flames rise, and the heat burns the air around him. From below, a gigantic worm-like demon writhes, laying countless eggs that drip with black slime. Liam glares at the creature and refuses to let such monsters spread again. With a single swing of his arm, he summons a golden rope of light that wraps around the demon's body and pulls it from the depths. The beast roars and fires a purple beam, but Liam blocks it with his own blue energy. The two forces collide and explode in a burst of color. Liam stands firm and declares that every 300 years, the Calamity Demon returns to destroy the world. The warriors of the 100-man unit are reborn each cycle to fight it again. But he says that sealing the demon away is no longer enough. This time, he will erase it completely. He gathers all of his strength, the air trembling around him as blue lightning swirls through the sky. He raises his arm for the final blow, determined to end the calamity forever. But suddenly, a red beam shoots through his chest. Liam's eyes widen as he gasps in pain, his body trembles, and he falls to his knees. Before he can react, his limbs are severed by another strike. Blood spills onto the ground. A hand grabs his hair and lifts his head. Through his fading vision, Liam sees the face of his betrayer. It is Magreti, the red-haired warrior who once fought beside him. Liam whispers his name in disbelief. Magreti smirks coldly, his eyes burning with greed. He tells Liam that he cannot allow the Calamity Demon to be destroyed. Instead, he will take Liam's 108 powers for himself. Liam tries to speak, but his voice fades as Magreti's red aura grows stronger. The battlefield, once filled with hope, falls into silence once more as betrayal shatters the light of victory. Worse still, Magreti places a curse on Liam so that he can never reincarnate again. He tosses Liam's broken body aside and unleashes a wave of red energy, laughing as he seals both Liam and the Calamity Demon deep within the abyss. As Liam falls into the darkness, he can only hear Magreti's cruel laughter echoing above him. A massive seal forms across the sky, binding Liam and the demon together for eternity. The warriors of the 100-man unit crumble to dust, sacrificing their lives not to destroy the calamity, but to preserve it. In that moment, Liam realizes the terrible truth. The Calamity's revival must somehow serve a greater purpose for those who betrayed him. A monstrous worm-like demon slithers closer, saliva dripping from its fangs as it opens its gaping mouth. Liam stares at it bitterly and mutters that it seems they will be together for a long time. The beast laughs, mocking him and reminding him of his curse of immortality. Even when it devours him, his body regenerates again and again. For 200 years, Liam endures endless torment in the darkness. His body is ripped apart countless times, yet he cannot die. But one day, something inside him finally breaks. His eyes glow blood red, and with a voice that shakes the abyss, he roars that no matter how many millennia pass, his vengeance will never fade. Against the traitors, against fate, and against this eternal agony, he will rise again. He swears to make the world submit to his will. In that moment, a mysterious light appears before him. A soft voice echoes through the void, calling his name. "Lord Liam, please return." His soul is pulled upward into a new vessel. His body begins to glow with power, brighter than it has ever been before. Suddenly, the scene shifts. A boy lies on the ground, covered in dirt, barely able to move. Around him stands a group of boys laughing cruelly. This boy is Kai. One of the bullies jokes that he's not dead yet. Another laughs and says they don't want to be murderers. Then, with wicked grins, they decide to dunk him in the pond again. Kai struggles as they grab him, forcing his head underwater. He gasps for air, but they beat him down each time he lifts his face. One of the bullies sneers that Kai is far too weak. Then they call out to their leader, Joshua. Joshua steps forward with a sinister smile, pulling out a syringe filled with a strange liquid. He explains that anyone injected with this drug will start dancing uncontrollably. It's supposed to be funny. Kai's eyes widen in horror. He pleads with them to stop, but Joshua orders his gang to hold him tighter. Kai screams as the needle pierces his arm. His body convulses violently. Against his will, he begins to twitch and move in humiliating ways, while the bullies roar with laughter. Exhausted, he falls to the ground. But Joshua isn't satisfied. He kicks Kai and demands that he keep dancing until he dies. Slowly, Kai raises his head. His eyes are calm but cold. He mutters that it's sickening. The bullies stop laughing, confused by the tone of his voice. Then Kai smiles faintly and grabs one of their hands with an unnatural strength that makes them flinch. His voice is low and steady. He says that he might not understand what's going on yet. But one thing is certain: trash like them deserves punishment. A dark aura begins to surround Kai as his eyes glow faintly. His smirk grows sharper, filled with power and fury. The gang surrounds Kai and sneers at him. One of them steps forward and mocks him for calling them trash. Kai closes his eyes, and a faint glow spreads over his body as he feels the magic inside. It seems small and weak at first, like simple ice magic, but something else stirs beneath it. The gang lunges, one fist flying toward Kai, but his hands frost over and chill air pours out. Mist fills the space between them, and tiny ice particles drift like dust. The attacker freezes in shock as Kai moves forward with a steady, overwhelming presence. His aura presses down and crushes the bravado from their faces. Kai strikes with a single icy blow, and the man screams as the impact sends him flying across the ground. A shockwave ripples outward, and forest lines mark the place where the body smashes down. The others stare in disbelief as Kai breathes out a quiet insult that sounds colder than the wind. The wounded man curls up and cries out in pain, while the rest reel from what they have seen. Joshua reacts with stunned outrage, unable to accept that Kai has become this strong. Kai's aura pulses like an approaching storm, and the injured man clutches himself as if the air itself cuts him. Inside Kai, a voice is calm and sharp. He remembers that the original owner of this body never knew how to use his strength well. Now control changes everything. Blows that once landed weakly are now precise and devastating. The remaining gang members panic and try to flee, but Kai points, and frost instantly clamps around their legs, freezing them in place. Kai walks among them step by step. The weight of his presence makes them shrink back and whimper. He considers what to do next, and the fear in their eyes answers his silent question. They shake and beg for mercy. Kai orders them to strip off their outer clothes, and they obey in trembling humiliation. He examines a jacket and tosses it aside, then picks another as if choosing something practical rather than cruel. The moment feels like payback that has been long in the making. Kai suggests sinking them into the swamp, but the words carry the chill of consequence. The gang falls to their knees and pleads, blaming Joshua and begging forgiveness. Kai's aura surges again, and his voice cuts into their excuses. He reminds them that they have stolen lives and hurt others, that apologies do not undo the harm. Their pleas become frantic as they try to shift blame and name Joshua as the ringleader. Kai stands over them, cold and unshaken. The bullies tremble beneath the weight of his magic and the quiet certainty in his steps. They hope to break him, but instead they have awakened something that will not be soothed by words. The swamp air grows silent except for their ragged breath and the faint crackle of frost where Kai once stood. Kai's eyes narrow in silent rage. Joshua, that brat, becomes the center of his focus as the trembling enemies confess more. Their voices shake while they reveal that Joshua was chosen as a target in something known as Liam's descendant game. The words catch Kai's attention like a spark in dry air. His gaze sharpens and the weight of his presence demands an explanation. The frightened man stammers, then finally speaks. Liam's descendant is a cruel ritual born from the students of the Royal Magic Academy. Every year they select someone to bear the name of the traitor Liam Hill, and that person becomes the target of endless torment and punishment from their peers. The air grows heavier as the gang continues to explain, their tone shifting between fear and mockery. They retell the legend with twisted pride, saying that even children know about the great subjugation of the so-called traitor Liam Hill, the man defeated by the 99 heroes and branded as the greatest villain in history. Each word grates against Kai's mind like ice breaking apart. The story they recite feels hollow and false, an echo of something built on lies. Kai's aura flares with fury, heat mixing with cold as the mist around him trembles. His anger burns not from insult, but from the weight of a memory buried deep within. He sees through the deception that has been passed down as truth. Those glorified victors, he realizes, rewrote history to cover their own sins. They built their fame on betrayal and shaped the world's belief through deceit. His eyes blaze like frozen fire as he clenches his fists. The power around him surges, and the ground shivers under his feet. He swears in silence that he will uncover the truth of Liam Hill and tear down the false legacy built upon his name. The gang can only watch, paralyzed between fear and awe, as Kai's resolve becomes something far greater than vengeance, an oath to set history right. Kai's glowing aura rises with quiet strength as the battered gang members lead him to a small, broken house. Joshua points at it with a mocking grin, telling that this is where Kai lives. Kai looks around, hiding his disgust. The house is old and falling apart, but he stays calm. Joshua and his group demand to know why he forced them to bring him there. Kai's tone is sharp as he tells them to leave, but warns that their punishment is not over yet. They hesitate for a moment before running off in fear. Kai pushes the shaky door open and steps inside. A servant quickly bows, greeting him respectfully. The man addresses him as Your Highness, which catches Kai's attention. His mind begins to process the memories inside this body. He senses traces of royal blood, but finds the memories scattered and blocked, as if something is hiding them. The painful memories of bullying are clear, but everything else feels distant and sealed away. Kai turns toward the servant and calmly asks about his identity. The servant, looking nervous, explains that Kai is the 8th prince of the kingdom. Kai's expression tightens in confusion. If he is royalty, why is he living in such a poor place? The servant stutters, unsure of what to say, and Kai quickly guesses there must be strange circumstances behind it. He remembers how the bullies had treated him like garbage despite his royal status, realizing that something about this life is not ordinary. As Kai observes the room, he notices the weak state of his new body. His face shows faint irritation at how neglected it looks. The servant steps closer, clearly worried, asking what has happened to him since he seems like a completely different person. For a moment, Kai studies the man's face and realizes the question comes from concern, not disrespect. He takes a slow step forward, his voice steady and cold. He tells everyone in the house that he has no intention of acting like the weak person they once served. The man known as Kai before is gone. From now on, he serves someone new, someone stronger, determined, and far more dangerous. After making his final declaration, Kai turns away and drifts into sleep. The once noisy house falls into an uneasy stillness, as if everyone senses that something inside him has changed forever. While his body rests, his mind refuses to stay quiet. Fragments of long-buried memories rise like sparks in the dark, pulling him back through time. The scene shifts to more than 2,000 years ago. In a collapsing cave, Magreti and his younger sister Mimina are trapped while demonic creatures swarm from every shadow. Mimina calls out to her brother, her voice trembling but full of faith. A massive tentacle crashes through the stone walls and slams into Magreti's chest, throwing him across the cave. Blood splatters the ground as Mimina screams his name. The monsters close in, their claws scraping the earth. Just when all hope seems lost, the air trembles. A flash of blue lightning rips through the cave ceiling, and the demons below shriek as the blast wipes them out. From the falling dust steps Liam, his expression calm and confident. Even in that chaos, he carries the aura of command. He looks down at the injured pair with a faint smirk, as if the danger means nothing to him. Magreti can barely stay conscious, but his eyes fill with relief at the sight of Liam. Without hesitation, Liam kneels beside him and channels energy into his wounds, closing them instantly. Then he turns to Mimina, checking that she can stand. His tone is firm but gentle as he tells her to stay close to her brother. When Magreti finally steadies his breathing, Liam scolds him lightly for being reckless again and risking both their lives for materials that were not worth dying for. Magreti bows his head in shame, yet his gratitude is clear. He promises loyalty to Liam for saving them once more, swearing that he will follow him no matter what path he takes. Liam only gives a small sigh, half amused, half weary, but accepts it without another word. The memory fades, and Kai's eyes open to the dim light of morning. He lies still for a moment, letting the fragments settle inside him. Every image, every voice feels vivid, as if it happened only yesterday. The truth of the past becomes sharper and heavier in his chest. Now he understands that his return is not by chance. He must find the traitors who twisted fate and reclaim the power that was stolen. Kai pushes himself up and looks out the window. The cold dawn glows faintly beyond the ruined walls. In his mind, he repeats one silent promise to show proper gratitude to Liam, whose strength and sacrifice once changed everything, and to prepare this vessel for the purpose it was chosen for. Morning arrives quietly, with Kai sitting at the dining table. The butler greets him with forced politeness and places a simple meal before him. The food is plain and tasteless, a far cry from what a prince should be served. Kai studies the plate for a moment and easily understands the situation. The butler has been preparing the meals himself, lacking both skill and confidence. For someone of royal blood, this kind of life feels almost pitiful. When the butler lowers his head to apologize, Kai looks up with a cold, steady gaze. He tells him not to apologize if he has any pride left, but makes it clear that the meals must improve and soon. Later that day, the academy grounds fill with the noise of students gathering for their morning classes. Kai walks in quietly, lost in his thoughts, his expression calm and unreadable. But the peaceful moment doesn't last long. A familiar, mocking voice calls out to him. It's Joshua, the same boy who once tormented the former Kai. Joshua smirks, his tone full of arrogance. He says he heard Kai roughed up his men yesterday and sneers that Kai must be getting ahead of himself. The insult spreads through the crowd like fire. Other students begin to laugh and shout, calling Kai the cursed descendant of Liam, saying he deserves punishment for daring to defy them. At Joshua's command, a few of his lackeys pick up stones and start throwing them. The air fills with taunts and laughter as the stones hit the ground near Kai. Yet, instead of flinching, Kai remains completely still. His silence unsettles them more than any reaction could. For a brief moment, they think he might be frozen in fear, but then his eyes lift. The cold glare that meets theirs is enough to stop every hand in the air. The laughter fades one voice at a time until only silence remains, frustrated by the hesitation. Joshua steps forward himself. His pride burns hotter than his sense. He shouts at Kai to know his place, and swings his fist straight at him. But the moment his punch connects, a sickening crack echoes across the courtyard. Joshua's own hand shatters from the impact. He stumbles back, clutching it in disbelief while the crowd gasps. Kai remains unmoved, quietly examining his own body as if testing its limits. He realizes that even if this vessel is weaker than his original form, its hidden potential is undeniable. Joshua grits his teeth and, in blind fury, summons flames into his palm. He hurls a fireball straight at Kai. Without hesitation, Kai raises a hand and forms a barrier of ice. The fireball hits the ice and rebounds instantly, exploding into Joshua's chest and sending him flying backward into his own gang. The impact knocks them all down in a heap, leaving the entire courtyard speechless. No one dares to move. The moment shatters when a loud, angry voice cuts through the silence. A plump teacher storms in, red-faced and shouting. He points at Kai and accuses him of starting trouble again. Kai tries to explain that they attacked first, but the teacher doesn't let him finish. He waves a hand dismissively, ordering Kai to follow him for punishment. The students on the sidelines snicker, whispering bets about how long Kai will be gone this time. As Kai takes a step forward, a sharp pain suddenly pierces his head. His vision blurs and flashes of memory strike like lightning. He sees the same teacher beating the old Kai mercilessly in the past again and again while the students watched and laughed. The pain fades, replaced by rising fury. His heart pounds, his gaze hardens, and he finally understands. This man was not a teacher. He was just another bully who enjoyed watching others suffer. The teacher shouts again, his voice sharp and commanding, demanding Kai move faster. But Kai stays calm, his face expressionless, though a small smirk forms within. As he follows behind, his thoughts are cold and steady. He knows exactly what kind of man this teacher is, a coward hiding behind authority. He thinks to himself that a man like this needs discipline, and he will make sure to correct that arrogance completely. The teacher drags Kai into a dark chamber deep within the academy. The air is heavy, and the walls are damp with age. The door closes behind them with a loud metallic clang as the teacher locks it. His grin widens as he turns, clearly enjoying the control. He mocks Kai cruelly, laughing that he punished him just 3 days ago. Yet here he is again, as if he enjoys being beaten. His words grow harsher, filled with venom and pride. He spits out insults about Kai's bloodline, calling him a false royal and the cursed offspring of Liam, a traitor to the world. A dark purple aura begins to swirl around the teacher as he raises his hand, his magical energy pressing down on Kai. The chains holding Kai rattle under the pressure. The teacher walks closer, sneering as he asks why Kai isn't crying or begging for mercy like before. Usually, that was all the boy could do. The enforcer beside him watches carefully, whispering that something feels wrong. Kai's body is still, but his presence feels different, stronger, colder. The teacher sighs in disappointment and says that Kai was supposed to be his favorite toy to vent his anger on. He raises his whip high, expecting to hear the same screams as always. But when the whip cracks down, it suddenly stops midair. A glowing ice hand grips it tightly. The teacher freezes, staring in disbelief as frost spreads across the whip. From the floor, an ice golem rises, its surface gleaming blue in the dim light. Kai lifts his head slowly, his voice calm but heavy with quiet fury. He explains that he noticed this body bears many scars from a whip, and now he knows who caused them. His cold gaze never leaves the teacher as a surge of power shatters the chains around him. Metal fragments fall to the floor with a sharp clang. The teacher stumbles back in fear, shouting for Kai to stop, but Kai raises his hand. The ice golem grabs the teacher's arm and twists it harshly. A cry of pain fills the room. Kai steps closer, his eyes like frozen glass. He warns the teacher not to speak unless told to, or his other hand will be next. The man trembles, trying to explain that it was only part of the boy's education, but Kai's tone turns colder, sharper. If whipping was truly a lesson, he says, then the teacher should demonstrate it himself. He orders him to take off his coat and whip his own back. The teacher's face goes pale. He shakes his head, shouting that it's impossible. In an instant, a shard of ice shoots past his face and embeds deep into the wall beside him. The message is clear. Kai warns that if he refuses again, the next shot won't miss. Terrified, the teacher drops to his knees and agrees. Stripped and trembling, he begins striking himself with the whip under Kai's unflinching gaze. Each lash echoes through the cold chamber, sharp and raw. Red welts rise across his back as the belt tears at his skin. The teacher gasps and cries but continues, counting through the pain. By the 100th strike, his arms shake and his body collapses forward. Drenched in sweat, he breathes heavily, thinking the punishment is finally over. But Kai doesn't move. A faint smirk touches his lips as he looks down at the broken man. He tells him not to feel relieved yet. His punishment has only just begun. The chamber grows still. The only sound left is the teacher's weak breathing. The once arrogant tormentor now kneels trembling on the cold floor, his body broken under the weight of the prince he used to mock.